Brothers Karamazov, Book 12 and Chapter 13. This is the fourth chapter that the defense attorney for Dmitry has been speaking, and he should have stopped talking in the last chapter. He's made a reasonably good defense, started to trail off there at the end of the last chapter, but this goes to an absolutely absurd twist now as he tries the bad dad defense, and he blames Fyodor Pavlovich really for his own murder and saying Dmitry is innocent even if he's guilty because of what a bad dad Fyodor Pavlovich is. So one has to wonder about the parallels in Dostoevsky's mind between Ivan's arguments about God and this attorney's arguments about Fyodor Pavlovich. In other words, both of them have the similarity, the sameness in that there's two unlovable beings that have caused untold suffering and harm. And so how can you love a being that has caused this much suffering? God by giving people a free will, and Fyodor Pavlovich by being a terrible father. What did my client meet with when he arrived here at his father's house? And why depict my client as a heartless egoist and monster? He is uncontrolled, he is wild and unruly. We are trying him now for that. But who is responsible for his life? Who is responsible for his having received such an unseemly bringing up in spite of his excellent disposition and his grateful and sensitive heart? Did anyone train him to be so reasonable? Was he enlightened by study? Did anyone love him ever so little in his childhood? My client was left to the care of Providence like a beast of the field. He thirsted, perhaps, to see his father after long years of separation. 1,000 times he may, perhaps, recalling his childhood, have driven away the lonesome phantoms that haunted his childish dreams, and with all his heart he may have longed to forgive his father. And what awaited him? He was met by cynical taunts, suspicions, and wrangling about money. He heard nothing but revolting talk and vicious precepts uttered daily over the brandy. At last he saw his father enticing his mistress from him with his own money, the son's own money. Oh, gentlemen of the jury, that was cruel and revolting, and that old man was always complaining of the disrespect and cruelty of his son. He slandered him in society, injured him, calumniated him, bought up his unpaid debts to get him thrown into prison. Gentlemen of the jury, people like my client who are fierce, unruly, and uncontrolled on the surface are sometimes, most frequently indeed, exceedingly tender-hearted, only they don't express it. So sort of a gross caricature of Ivan's view that why is love reciprocal? Doesn't fatherly love have to be earned? What is wrong with Alyosha and Zosima's faith and Ivan's point of view is that God is not worthy. God does not deserve the love that they offer him. He has to demonstrate love to his creation by alleviating suffering, and the value of free will does not come close to the value of the suffering of innocent children. And so in a sort of perverse parallel way, this attorney is saying the same thing, that Dmitry is really incapable of being autonomous, of being in charge of his own actions because he had such a bad father. And so he's really undermining his own defense in the last three chapters by how he closes his argument, at least in this chapter. And that is to say that he goes back to the purpose of courts in general, and he takes the, as Christians, as the ages are always prone to do, to twist the scriptures to prove what. They don't go to the scriptures to ask what they say. They believe something and then go to the scriptures to try to find a way to support what they already believe. And so he reminds people that the Russian courts are not just for justice, they're for mercy, they're for the salvation of souls. Well, that's not what the court is for, first of all. But even if you allowed that, even for a second, even if that was somewhat true, it really is undermining what he's saying, because it's almost like saying that you don't believe what you were saying in his defense and that you really do believe that he is guilty. So really should have just stopped talking in the previous chapter. The bad dad defense and the parallels with Ivan's philosophy, the gross caricature of Ivan's philosophy run parallel through this chapter, and the twisting of scripture to try to appeal to the heart of a Christian jury is really inexcusable. And now we turn to the last chapter the epilogue to see Ivan his guilt or his Dmitri his guilt or his innocence.